first Saturday of every May is Free Comic Book Day, which means that you get to go to the comic book store and you get free comics. The first thing you have to do is go to the movie theater to get your tickets for the movie that night, because then when it gets sold out, you already have your tickets. You should make a Google map of all the comic book stores in your area. The first place we tried to go to was called Secret Headquarters, but we couldn't find parking, so we just didn't go. So then we went to Golden Apple, and they had a bunch of stuff there. They had a bounce house. So in addition to getting a bunch of free comics, you could go and just go in a bounce house. That's like the best day. They had food. You could get food there for free. You could get a sketch from comic book artist Scott Shaw. My brother and I both got Superman grab bags. Mine came with no prize. I didn't win anything. But some pretty good Superman comics inside. Long-haired 90s Superman. What is this? Eradicator fighting Guy Gardner? I'm into that. And I didn't win any extra prizes with it, but my brother won something. He won a book called Heat Rises by Richard Castle. I don't know, might be a good book. They had appearances scheduled for, like, they had Felicia Day and the cast of The Guild. And they also had Burt Ward, who was, like, the old Robin, but he said that he canceled his appearance. So he probably got a last-minute call from Commissioner Gordon or something. I didn't really go there for any specific appearance of anyone, but I did get to talk to someone pretty famous. What is your name?
I am Spider-Girl, the daughter of Spider-Man.
What brings you to Golden Apple today?
Free comics, of course.
Now, what will you do if the Kingpin shows up?
Well, he's not really one of my enemies so much anymore, so I'll let my dad take care of him.
Would you say that you're more a DC girl or a Marvel girl?
Come on, man. Look at me. I'm a Marvel all the way.
Okay.
But I'm the image too.
Then we went to Meltdown Comics. I would say Golden Apple is probably my favorite, but I go to Meltdown too sometimes. They have a lot of cool stuff there. They had a sidewalk sale going on outside for, like, it was comic books by the pound. So I guess you grab the books you want to get, and then they weigh them, and then they charge you based on the weight. Like at Yogurtland. That's the cool thing about Free Comic Book Day, is you don't just come home with the free comics. You could get another comic that you like. So I found this old-ass Ninja Turtles reprint that I think I owned the original of. They had a bunch of signings going on that day. I overheard a dude say that later that day they had Guillermo del Toro and Grant Morrison, which is a pretty impressive roster if you know anything. We couldn't really work it into our schedule because we had a long list of places to visit. I get in line to pay for this one comic book, and I see that next to the line to pay is a table, and there's a guy named Vic Cook, who I don't know, and then next to him is Greg Wiseman, who is the creator of Gargoyles. They were there to promote this book, Mecha Nation. He wrote on here, "Welcome to Mecha Nation." So once I read this, I'll know what he means by that. There's a huge subculture of Gargoyles fans that you probably never hear about, but it's there. So I know that probably a constant in Greg Wiseman's life is that people ask him, when's Gargoyles coming back? But I want to make sure that stream continues. So I asked him, is there any news on the Gargoyles front? And he said he would love nothing more than to continue Gargoyles, but there's no news right now. And I told him that, along with Batman the Animated Series, Gargoyles is probably like the best animated anything from the 90s. And he said, thanks. I would tend to agree. That probably would have been good to get on video.
We met the creator that shoots like
Then we got lunch. We had to get lunch, and you know, when you getting lunch on Free Comic Book Day, you just have to get whatever you can because you are on the clock. So we went to a Wendy's that was there. I haven't been inside a Wendy's in years. It hasn't changed much. They do have free Wi-Fi now. It seemed, I don't know, I try not to go for a lot of unhealthy foods, but it seemed like an appropriate thing because comic book nerds are really into like unhealthy foods and just destroying their bodies. So it's kind of nice just for every once in a while to sort of do the nerd thing and like get fast food and like talk about comics. It's Free Comic Book Day. You have to do something. Then we were looking for a place called Comic Book Junkies, which was supposed to be at 6638 and a half Hollywood Boulevard. We couldn't find it. It looked like it was a jewelry store there, but maybe that's where the half comes in. There might be a comic book store somewhere between two other stores. The thing of it is, it's Hollywood Boulevard, so you're not going to be able to park anywhere. So this is just what happens on Free Comic Book Day. You're constantly, you make a huge list, and you cut things as you go. We didn't go to all these spots. Then the next on our list was a place called DJ's Universal Comics. And I thought that name sounded familiar. And then when we got there, I realized it was because we tried to go there last year, and we saw that they had closed forever. So that's where I remembered it from, having gone there last year to see that it was closed forever. And it was listed on the comic book shop locator website, but now it just doesn't exist. So update your databases. Don't go to DJ's Universal Comics in Studio City, because it's not there. Then we went to Comic Smash. We only ever go to this place on Free Comic Book Day, and the people who work there are super nice. The only complaint I would have is that the guy working behind the counter wouldn't shut up about spoilers for stuff, like he was talking about the Avengers movie. And I bought a comic book there, and he looked at it, and he started talking to a guy standing next to me about the whole book, like the ending of the book, that I hadn't read yet, that I was paying for. So it's like, dude, if you work at a comic book store, it's good to love to talk about comics, but maybe don't discuss the ending of the books that someone's buying. But it's a very, very nice place. And while I was there, I ran into some pretty big names. Who are you guys?
I'm Reed Richards, Fantastic Four. They call me Mr. Fantastic.
I'm Steve Rogers. I'm Captain America. Yeah.
Call him Old Man.
So what brings you guys to Comic Smash today?
Well, I saw they were doing Free Comic Book Day, and I thought maybe I could get a couple with me in it.
Well,
And,
just, on his salary, we can't really afford comics on any other day of the year, right?
Unfortunately, no.
Yeah,
I spend all mine on the...
See, I'm the only one that really pretty much gets, from the president. I don't know if you knew about this, but, when they make the currency, there's also Steve Rogers pile, too.
Like
there's
coins?
everything, yeah.
Like
no.
Steve Roger coins?
Yeah, it's just Steve Rogers currency. I have my own.
How do I
don't
get
know if
that?
you knew
I don't think that's
Well,
fair.
you're
I've
the
saved
one
the world more times than you have.
Well, it's, negative zone. Why don't you do something in the negative
How
zone?
about I throw you in the negative zone?
Well, yeah.
And I won't have to worry. I can have
listen.
your pile.
Listen, pal. Okay.
What will you guys do if Magneto shows up?
Probably.
He's kind of a hero now, isn't he?
Yeah. I mean, we sort of go way back.
Yeah.
So he,
I might have him do some coin tricks.
yeah.
Like maybe float some quarters around or something. Maybe pick up my car. That's always
Yeah,
fun.
put the helmet on, scare the
Oh,
kids a little.
I
Yeah.
love it when he takes people's cars and he
Yeah.
moves them to different spots.
Oh, yes.
Oh, that's
a
fun.
hoot.
Would you guys say that you're more Marvel guys or DC guys? So yeah, I was pretty starstruck. I was surprised to hear about, they said Magneto's considered a hero now. Like, that guy's done some fucked up shit. But I guess if someone like Captain America can forgive someone all those atrocities, I could keep an open mind. Then we went to the House of Secrets in Burbank. This is a nice place. I go here sometimes. It's in a good area. It's very close to the Burbank Town Center. The people who work there are very nice. One time the power went out and the guy was just letting people still look for comics and pay with cash, like in the old days. Who are you?
Well, I'm Ant-Man, or did you want my actual name? I can't tell you my actual name because that's my secret identity.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. So what brings you to the House of Secrets today?
Well, today was Free Comic Book Day, and I'm with my other forgotten Avenger friends. You know, we pretty much weren't really invited to the Avenger party. Apparently, that happened this past weekend, and so we're kind of just hanging out with each other, kind of keeping each other company.
Are you guys gonna see the Avengers?
We'll see it. We'll see it when we have the time. But you know, with our Avenger charity groups and just saving people, you know, we're kind of busy.
What will you guys do if, like, the Joker shows up today?
The Joker. I don't think I'm aware of that. Is he a villain? Is he a hero? I'm not quite sure.
Oh yeah, he's a really bad guy.
Really? No, haven't heard about him.
Would you say that you're more of like a DC guy or a Marvel guy?
Oh, I'm definitely a Marvel guy. What is this DC thing that's going around? A lot of kids are talking about it nowadays, but
Oh man, look into it. Like, it's like they have all these like characters and stuff.
Characters? Oh, like superheroes and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's good to have like made-up characters that you can read about, and when you're just not ready to look at actual real heroes.
Then we went to Legacy in Glendale. This is like my neighborhood comic book store. Like, I could walk there from my apartment, so we go there sometimes. You could find a lot of good deals there. You can always find something for like $1. A lot of weird, interesting things like old, unopened issues of Wizard magazine, weird grab bags of random old comics. And I love that attached to it is this, I guess, like an area for card games, like RPG card games. A lot of weird games that I've never been into, but that I think is just really funny, and that I love that people are really into them, and I love that it exists. And I love to see nerds get the amount of pleasure that they do from weird shit like that. I celebrate that. I think it's funny, and I celebrate it. Also, this is the store where one time they shot an episode of the United States of Terra, and in that episode, it's like a shot of me and Shannon Tweed, and then it pans over and it's, oh, Academy Award nominee Viola Davis and Brie Larson. No big deal. Who cares? This is a normal thing when you live in Hollywood. You just get discovered and people put you in things and they just cast you and stuff. And then you're famous. Now, historically, this is usually where we call it quits on Free Comic Book Day, because we've done like the Hollywood area, then we go up the mountains and we kind of do the valley area, like the Sherman Oaks and the Studio City, and then we go into Burbank, and then by the time you get down to Glendale, you're pretty much done. So we always end up cutting the Pasadena stores. So my brother was done for the day, but I decided to go ahead and check out these Pasadena stores that we never go to. And the first one was Comics vs. Toys. Comics versus Toys? Comics versus Toys? Comics versus Toys. Who won? I don't know. I call it a draw because they had lots of cool stuff to represent both. I had a nice time there picking out some very old, cheap 25-cent comics while I listened to a kid asking the guy behind the counter if Batman was going to die in the new Batman movie. And the guy said, "We don't know." So he didn't want to bullshit this kid. And the kid bought like 7 comic books for $0.25. And then the guy was like, "I'll let you get another one for free." And the kid was so happy. So that's just the spirit of Free Comic Book Day, alive and well in Comics versus Toys in Pasadena. I hope I don't get that guy fired if his boss sees that he gave away a comic book for free. I'm saying it was a good thing. Then I went to one called Collector's Paradise. They had a bunch of people doing signings and sketches. They had the team who worked on the new Peanuts comic book. They had the team who worked on the Planet of the Apes comic book. And I think sometimes when you're meeting an artist, you get to just have them do a sketch, and that's sort of an event that you can share with them. But I guess sometimes when you meet a writer, you might be on the spot to say something interesting to them. And I think that's what was going on with these 2 guys who were standing there, who were sort of just looking down at a writer for the Planet of the Apes book, and they were asking her, "What's like the thing you do best when writing? Is it characterization or dialogue? Like, what do you do best?" And she said, "Doing research. I'm really good at doing research." Which I thought was a great answer. It's really tough with situations like that. If only you could just walk up to a writer you admire and just sort of stare at them, and they would be okay with that. I think maybe some writers might be okay with that. Instead of having to generate a conversation. Like, is it a situation where you're supposed to have an intelligent conversation with someone? Or is it more like you're at a zoo? And then, while I was at Collector's Paradise, I ran into maybe the biggest name that I met that day. This was a huge get for my YouTube channel. So now here is an exclusive interview with someone who really needs no introduction, because every time you see him in a movie or even a trailer for a movie, he's always answering the question of, "Who am I?"
Alright, lay it on me. Wait, hold on. Let me get in character. Fought in the war, frozen for a while. Alright, I'm good.
So, for anyone who doesn't know, who are you?
I am the Amazing Spider-Man. Well, it depends which one you're reading. I could be the Spectacular, I could be the Ultimate, I could be the Astonishing, I could even be the Avenging. So it depends which one you're going with. I could even be an MTV Spider-Man. But then, of course, I'd be voiced by Doogie Howser. So really, all the above.
What brings you to Collector's Paradise today?
Well, I think a better question to ask is, what doesn't bring me here? And the answer is, nothing, I guess? That's a double negative. You know what? Scratch that. 2 wrongs don't make a right, but they do make a U-turn. Anyways, what brings me here is that it's Free Comic Book Day, celebrating heroes like me. Now, of course, my movie doesn't come out for another month, but we got Avengers.
Are you gonna see Avengers?
See it? I saw it like 6 months ago, because after that whole thing happened, Cap called me and was like, "Where were you?" And I was like, "I was asleep." Evidently, that was a bad time to pull an all-nighter for a science project I had, and I missed the whole thing. Go to bed, wake up, New York's gone.
What would you do if, like, Galactus showed up right now?
Run, hide.
Would you say you're more of a DC guy or a Marvel guy?
That's like saying, are you more a fan of oxygen or being on fire?
So...
DC, of course, without a doubt. No, Marvel, come on.
Okay.
Come on.
Well, thank you for talking to us today.
Who are we talking to? Who am I talking to?
This
You
is-
said us, as if you're like, have the symbiote. Because Eddie Brock referred to himself as us. And if that means you have the symbiote, that means that this is not a good thing that's about to happen.
Yikes. Then I went to another place in Pasadena called Comics Factory, and this place looked small on the outside, but when you went in, it just went on and on and on. At first it's like a video store, and then it becomes a comic book store, and then there's like toys, and then you go back, and then there's like manga for teenage girls, and then you go even further back, and you're like in a different country, it feels like, by the time you get to the end. They had, like, all the titles, all these more obscure free comic books that I didn't see at any other store that I went to. They let you get 7 books per person, and I had no repeats. After that, we had to go back to the Vista to see the Avengers. And we got there about an hour before the showtime, and they were sold out, and the line was a little bit long, but it's great to go to the Vista because they have great picture, great sound every time. The prices are not too bad. They had Captain America tearing the tickets, so it's okay to go to like an AMC or a Regal Edwards or a Pacific. But, you know, if you have a cool, like, a place like the Vista that's great every time and is more affordable, why don't you just go there? Of course, my only complaint was the audience, because, like, they cheered a lot, which was okay, I don't care, but also you had a lot of comedians trying to yell funny things during quiet parts, and also the man sitting directly in front of me was wearing a hat. You know, you have to make an effort when you go to a theater to not obstruct the view of the person behind you. So to actually wear something big on your head, like a hat, like we're in the 1920s, it would be good if it ever rained inside a movie theater, if you happen to be wearing a hat. But this hat really exists, not in any utilitarian way, but more so he can feel like he has created an identity that is comfortable for him, so that he can just go about his day. And maybe without this hat, he wouldn't be able to leave his apartment. I could just be an awesome person, or I could buy this hat. But the movie was really good. Definitely way better than Green Lantern. I know a lot of people are saying that Green Lantern was better, but for me, if it comes down to Green Lantern versus Avengers all the way. It's not even close to me. I would say it goes Iron Man, the Incredible Hulk, the Avengers, Thor, and then Iron Man 2, Captain America tie.
My favorite scenes were Hawkeye shooting bows and arrows.
When he ran out of arrows, but he still fucking brought it.
So are we supposed to know who that guy was?
Yeah, that's like
Who's that? Who? Oh, the purple guy. Is he a bad guy? What's his deal?
he has like a glove of power that he puts gems in or something. He's just like,
Alright.
he does things, I don't know.
Where the fuck was War Machine?
He was with
He had
Hammer.
important meetings, general meetings for the military.
Without Don Cheadle War Machine working behind the scenes of what we just saw, maybe they wouldn't have won.
Exactly. If he hadn't gotten, the paperwork through that needed to get processed, they wouldn't even have permission.
You know who else is dicking around not helping? The Punisher.
He's killing gangs right now. He's just shooting gang members.
You can skip Captain America, it's okay.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna watch it. I'll watch Thor,
Watch Thor. Thor's fucking,
and that's it.
that's where you want to go.
No Captain America, no Hulk. But Thor,
Thor.
I'll watch Thor.
Thor is the best of the
I just said that you guys had the Blu-ray and I can come over whenever.
So I hope you enjoyed this comprehensive look at Free Comic Book Day 2012. If you didn't know about Free Comic Book Day, make sure that next year, first Saturday in May 2013, you make your plans, find all your comic book stores, and go get your free comic books and meet all your heroes.
So, YouTube people, how you doing? Make sure to hit like in the bottom corner, make a comment, and hit subscribe, which is up here. Don't put any evil comments, you little bratty kids, because I know you go off on these tangents because you're upset life hasn't treated you well, but deal with it, alright? It's not my fault, and it's not this guy's fault.
Thanks, Spidey.
Cool.